It's 11:30 at night. You know, hospital time, you can get all turned around. So now I'm wide awake because I've been sleeping a lot off and on today. How did I get here? Where are we going? What in the world's happening? First off, baby is fine. He's super. His heartbeat's great. And actually, I am fine, especially now, but it's been an adventure. This is why there have been no other videos up this week. Yesterday was Tuesday, January 19th. We had just done a big breakfast. Other jobs were being done. We were pacing ourselves to get school going. And at some point in the afternoon, I had 2 small recipes I was gonna film. Had a lovely afternoon, read aloud, and family evening planned. So being here wasn't on my to-do list. Not long after we started breakfast, I didn't feel quite right. I had some lower back pain, wouldn't go away. Again, I'm like almost 32 weeks pregnant now. You get different aches and pains and such. This wouldn't go away. And sometimes I can like sit on hard chairs and benches, and sometimes I need to get up and sit on the couch, right? So I sat where I usually sit by Travis, which is a wooden bench. But when I got up, you know, just my back hurt more, my hips hurt. And so I told Travis, I said, Travis, I'm gonna sit on this couch here with my feet up for about an hour, and I'm gonna, you know, watch these kids and give them directions in reference to school because he had some things he had to go do. I said, and then I'll get moving and do these other things I have planned, but I'm just gonna sit here for a little bit and recuperate, because you know, sometimes I take those power naps or sit down for a rest, and then I'm better, ready to go for the rest of the day. So that was the plan. Got kids going with school stuff. And how that goes, you know, they're all at the table, I'm on the couch beside them. If they had different questions and things, they could bring me their work. So there were some different kids, I helped with some things. But as time went on, my back just continued to worsen. And I was like, okay, stupid back. So I got up and I just started to walk laps, you know, inside our house, get some movement going, because sometimes you just sit and rest. And then I thought, well, this isn't working. Maybe I need to move some. So then the pain intensified even more, and TMI ran to the bathroom, started throwing up. You know, things are a little fuzzy for me. I laid down in my bed some, and I would say the pain was a 6 or a 7 on that 0 to 10 pain scale. So it was, you know, it was painful. And when the pain would peak, I would run to the bathroom and throw up again. So I'd probably thrown up 5 times then. Went ahead and messaged my midwife and said, I'm having this intense pain. It gets up to a 7 or so. I'm throwing up with it. It's in my lower back. I just want to let you know that this is what I'm doing. So they immediately wrote back that with the pain being a 7, I probably needed to consider going on into the ER. And I'm sure there's details I'm leaving out, but they were concerned because the pain level was so high. So I set my timer on my watch, which is probably like 3 o'clock by this point, because I dealt with it for several hours. And I said, okay, if I'm still dealing with this by 4, I don't know why I thought it was going to go away, then I'm going to just have Travis take me in. And I already had Travis back at the house, you know, ready to go. Car ready to go. My biggest concern with the lower back pain was I didn't want it to be preterm labor. But to go along with that, there were certain things that would probably be happening with preterm labor that were not happening. So, you know, you have a list of signs and symptoms either way. So, got to the point where I was like, yeah, we're just going in. Last place I want to be in the world right now is in a hospital. Right? Not the place where you want to gather. The biggest reason that got me in was I wanted to make sure it was not preterm labor. So we got to the ER. Of course, Travis, there's one comedian, he talks about how valet parking is like at the hospital is the biggest missed business opportunity. I think it was Brian Regan, because Travis had to drop me off and I had to go in. He had to go park. And of course he couldn't come in the ER then. So had to go in by myself, and I was able to walk in. I wasn't so sure at that point if I'd even be able to walk in, but I just said, I need a chair now. This is all the pain that I'm dealing with, and I'm 31 weeks pregnant. My biggest concern is preterm labor. They immediately drew blood, got a urine sample, and they parked me in the waiting room, which was fine. I mean, everybody has to wait and such. So I sat out there. The pain really continued to intensify. Probably got to be about an 8 or so. And so I was just crying in the waiting room because I didn't know what else to do. Within 10 minutes or so, they took me back, and they quickly assessed that I was going to need my own room in the ER. They got that ready for me. By that point, the pain was really prominent on the right side of my lower back. So of course we're thinking right kidney. It would radiate around the front. It would go down to the groin. Didn't feel like a contraction or labor in that when you're having contractions, when you're having labor, at first you have a several minute break in between each one. Even by the end, they're coming on top of each other. But before that, you might have 15 to 30 seconds in between each one, just the slight little respite. So with what I was dealing with, there wasn't a respite. It was just intense pain. So they got me back to my little room. He asked me about pain meds, which I don't do a lot of pain meds. I'll do Tylenol once in a while. What do? He said morphine was the safest option. Again, at this point, my pain's like an 8 or so. They gave me morphine. They started me on an IV. Of course, at this point, they're assessing me for maybe kidney stones, other infections, not sure, waiting for results to come back and such. He gave me morphine. I think it was like 6 milligrams. It really didn't touch my pain. Then so an hour went by and I was getting worked up again, crying out in pain a lot. Just, it was intense along the lines of labor pain. About an hour later, they gave me 6 more milligrams. At that point, within about 30 minutes or so, I actually felt like I still had pain, but it was dulled, and I thought, okay, I feel like I could rest and take a nap. I couldn't really, but there was definitely some improvement. So during all that, they're getting IV antibiotics started, they're getting fluids started, talking to different people, assessing me for things. The biggest thing was it was like a sudden onset of this pain that started. Again, wasn't my plan for the day. I laid there, rested. I got an ultrasound, got to see the baby. He is head down, yay. They looked at my kidneys and bladder and ureters and all the different anatomy there. So they came back with and again, I'm tired now, groggy, ureter. I know that's not right. The tube that goes from the kidney to the bladder, the one on my right side was enlarged and dilated. My kidney was enlarged. They could not see any kidney stones, but they were thinking, it could possibly be dilated because I had kidney stones in there, which happens to all kinds of folk. Normally, they would also do a CT scan to try to see the stones, look at the kidneys more closely, but they didn't want to risk the radiation with the baby. So all we could do was the ultrasounds. But again, through that, we determined he was fine, his heartbeat was fine. I had a dilated area there. Something must be happening, kidney related. So not long after that, these 2 assistants came to take my vitals and such. I had to use the restroom. I asked for a chair. There wasn't one available. I had to walk quite a long distance from where my room was to get to the bathroom in the ER and walk myself back. When I did that, my kidney, ureter, everything just felt like it started these rolling painful spasms. There was that. So by the time I got back from that bathroom break, I also, besides the IV, I had not been taking in fluids by mouth, and I had thrown up whatever I had eaten for that day. I was able to do ice chips because we were waiting to see what we were dealing with. By the time I got back in bed, I was rolling in pain again. It was just too much for me at that time. So much pain. Had my call bell on for a while. Finally, I just started calling out. Someone out there has to see this bell on. Once I did that, I got help pretty quick. It's that squeaky wheel thing, sometimes you got to be the squeaky wheel, and they gave me more morphine. And so within about 30 minutes of that, I was back to the place where, because by that became my most painful part of the day. My pain was definitely a 9. We just had to get on top of it. So yes, this is an all-day event. So it was probably close to this time last night. They decided it'd be best to admit me, to continue to give me IV antibiotics, to continue to watch my pain levels, and go from there. So then last night we were discussing things like there was a possibility, especially if I was dealing with kidney stones, I might have to have a stent put in to my ureter, or even a possibility that they might have to put a drain in my kidney that would just stay in there till after the baby was born. I'm processing and I'm on pain meds. My goal in life was just to not hurt. Got me up here and they switched my pain meds and I just continued to take them. It was like a Tylenol and I'm gonna say codeine, but I don't think that was the one they paired it with. And I took those through the night to stay on top of the pain. I was also able to start drinking and eating, and that's always glorious after not drinking for the day. Didn't think I was hungry, but whenever I was able to start taking water and ginger ale by mouth again, my stomach was like, oh, we need food. So I was able to eat. I didn't sleep any more than maybe 45 minutes at a time overnight. I slept in longer bursts today, and my lab results, especially for urine samples, it can take up to, they can get a preliminary at 24 hours, can take up to 48 hours to see what they grow. My blood results show obviously some kind of infection. So long story short, today they were able to narrow it down, and I did get my IV antibiotics this evening. They're like every 24 hours. Because again, we're putting pieces of a puzzle back together for something that at least presented itself out of nowhere acutely. That I probably had a UTI that I wasn't aware of. And yeah, I didn't have any signs or symptoms for one, which backed up to my bladder, which would be a bladder infection, which then backed up to my kidneys. So they're thinking that it's not actually kidney stones that I'm dealing with, but it is a kidney infection, which during pregnancy is a high risk level because it can lead to preterm labor and lots of complications. So when I Google it, the biggest treatment is to be admitted, to get IV antibiotics, to push fluids, to do all the things that we're doing. So me coming in yesterday was definitely the right call, because sometimes I'm just not sure. Is this the right call, Jamerrill? Do you really need to do this? But again, what pushed me to do it was, besides my own pain level, my concern about the baby in preterm labor. So this is where we are. This is my little adventure this week. Most likely tomorrow I will get to go home, depending on the final lab results and things in the morning. But they're thinking I'll get to go home tomorrow, and then I will be on oral antibiotics for 7 to 10 days. I don't know which ones yet. And I will just be taking it easy, drinking lots of fluid, taking my antibiotics. Another good, huge praise. I've just been taking Tylenol, regular Tylenol, nothing else with it, nothing else stronger. So if I need it, I would take it, but I haven't needed it today. So these are all good, positive things. Well, good morning. Next day, the day I think I'm gonna be going home. This is my breakfast tray. It's almost 9. I thought they forgot about me, but they didn't. They just brought it. So just finished all that water, drinking a ginger ale. There's a coffee. May or may not be able to drink it. Some kind of muffin, cheesy eggs, some kind of potatoes. We can do this. And also I slept most of the night last night, which was good. I mean, I was up 5 or 6 times, but still not like the night before where there was just really no sleep to be had. So we appreciate that sleep. So hopefully I'll let you know once I get report and see how things are looking if I am officially going home today. Not something we need for this trip, but this is one of those little baby warmers. It's in my room because I am here on the labor and delivery floor. We've just been using it as a little nightlight for me. Here's a picture of my room. Super exciting, my bed. Alrighty, so I am dressed and I got my little cart of stuff, got the chicken bag. We are gonna roll down to the pharmacy and get my prescriptions now. I think it'll be this one. We're finding our way. It's good to be in clothes again.